Hey, what's up guys, Sir Emanon here, and welcome to another feature match commentary on the channel today. So this time it's going to be round 4 of my current online Discord tournament, and it's going to be featuring Evil Card on Zoodiac versus Deckmaster 3K on Generaider Numeron. So if you guys do want to participate in future iterations of this tournament, definitely be sure to head over to the Discord server. Link is in the description box as usual, and without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started here. So we are going to see the Generaider player win the RPS here. Generaider Numeron, that is. He's going to elect to go first. We're going to see the opening hand for Generaider be a copy of Numeron Network, Ghost Ogre, Gamma, Boss Fight, and Numeron Wall. So this hand is pretty good. It has access to both engines. It's a little bit on the slow side, but there's also 2 hand traps, which is good. He's on 54, so probably quite a few engines in here, as we can already tell. And I would assume a fair number of hand traps in addition to that. And the Zoo player's hand is going to be Book of Moon, Tenki, Third Imperm, and Nibiru. So this hand's also pretty good. It has access to Zoo monsters, hand traps, and some defensive cards as well. Nibiru is likely going to be dead this match, although there are cases where you can Nibiru on your own turn against Generaider since the tokens fill up the board. Although the like other engines might complicate that if like stuff like Zexal or Dragoon, because this deck's also playing Red Ice stuff, is going to be summoned to the main monster zone. But there is a world in which Nibiru could be used on his own turn. Excuse the noise outside if you guys heard that. But yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting back and forth here. We're going to see Numeron Wall be activated. That's going to activate a copy of Network from deck. And the Network is going to send a copy of Calling as a cost. And that's going to summon out Gate 1, 2, and 3. And then overlay into a copy of Zexal. So he's playing around Nibiru here. And then going to set a copy of Boss Fight and then pass. For turn, Zoo is going to draw a copy of Rap here. So Zoo actually is pretty good against Zexal in particular, because even if Zexal resolves, you can just normal summon a Zoo and make Trident, and that answers the Zexal for next turn. So that is actually pretty good interaction there. Plus he has a fair amount of defensive cards to survive and just make another Zoo push for next turn. So this is a pretty strong hand to just combat Zexal. However, there is a Generaider stuff still, so there's that to keep in mind. He's going to go ahead and normal summon Third and actually activate the effect. So this does play into the Ghost Ogre, and that is going to be chained. And then Zexal will be chained as Chainlink 3. Yeah, so I guess he was feeling safe to use this, because Ogre is not like the most popular hand trap, but it's still being played enough to where I think you probably respect it, at least early on. Gamma is obviously not live right now, but yeah, playing into the Ogre there is going to hurt, because that's going to remove access to just the free Trident, aka the out. He's going to ditch the Rat to draw a copy of Imperial Order, which is a pretty interesting top deck. It could stop like the boss stage push, but it's going to be delayed. Like you could just activate Boss Fight in the end phase and then get value that way. So we'll see what ends up happening here, because now he's locked under Zexal. He's going to set Imperm, Order, and Book of Moon. And then going to move to end phase. Generaider is going to activate Boss Fight. That's going to set a copy of Boss Stage from deck. And then allows you to draw 1. It's end phase and he's under Zexal, so it's not really going to make a difference here. He draws a Barrage, which actually could be really good for pushing next turn. Boss Stage is going to be triggered off of the Boss Fight, and that's going to summon Utsgarda from deck. And that's going to trigger the other stage effect to summon out 3 tokens. So I guess he's just going to go for Utsgarda to banish a random back row, which is fair enough. He could have also gone Elopter, but this is during end phase, so Elopter could be good to like push with the tokens, like get another Generaider boss monster. But I guess it doesn't. It could actually make a difference, because you could have been safe to use the use the Elopter in main phase, because the card that they would have drawn off the boss fight couldn't be used under Zexal. But maybe he was afraid that he was going to draw into like a back where they could set, and that would kind of just nullify the advantage of Utsgarda, which is fair. So that's reasonable. He's going to go ahead and banish 2 tokens, or tribute 2 rather, to banish the Imperm. So that's one of the outs to Zexal, but he does have Book of Moon still. Play's going to pass back to Generaider, who's going to draw another copy of Boss Fight. That's not a good draw. So the problem with Generaider in this particular case is that it doesn't have that much offensive capabilities, like past turn 1. Like the resources he has isn't conducive to like pushing aggressively, so he's just going to have to like attack and hope that his Zexal will get him there, and that's pretty much it. Granted, this is a pretty powerful position, but it's going to be a bit slow. He's gonna go ahead and attack for 4,200. So he's gonna just take it. And then main phase 2, gonna set boss fight and then pass. End phase, we're gonna see Zoo flip up the Book of Moon. So that's gonna flip down the Zexal. So that's actually pretty good. So now he can play on his own turn. And he has Tenki Barrage, which is like very, very powerful. He's gonna activate Order on the end phase too. I'm not really a big fan of this one, because let's think about this, right? So the way that you have to play against Utgarda plus a potential boss stage, something like a Har or something, and then like 2 more tokens. If he summons Har and he has Utgarda, like those both need a tribute too. So like even if you force both of them, like you'll be able to clear a lot of the generated board. Like you have to play against a potential back row, maybe 2 hand traps, although like those are all unknowns, so I guess it's also fair. But I don't know, like by flipping up this order, you turn off the Tenki and the Barrage in your own hand. So realistically, what can you use to push past that? So I guess the best case scenario would be to just top deck a Zoo monster, and then you can just like go ahead and like attack and then make like a Zeus and then use Tenki and Barrage main phase 2, which would be like a pretty good follow-up. Because then you can end on Trident Zeus, which is pretty good. But there's not that many, like there's a fair amount of Zeus, right? There's like 2 more Thoroughblade, 3 Whiptail, 3 Ram, but that's only 8 Zoo monsters. So 8 and 32, that's a 25% chance, which is not a very high chance. Like the rest of the 75% is pretty low. I guess some builds are like main decking Alpha and Pankratops, which I guess are more cards that can get you out of this, but I don't know. I feel like that's just very high rolly, because like the majority of your hand right now is spells and your Nibiru is obviously dead. So I think this is a bit preemptive. Or what you could do actually if you were this afraid of boss stage is like you could wait to draw for a turn, and then in response to boss stage you can just chain the order then. Like if the card in your hand is like a Zoo or a Pankratops or like an Alpha. And that way you are able to like just guarantee that your play is live. And if not, like if it's another spell, then you can just like keep the order set and just try and play through the Har and Utgarda, which is going to be tough, but like it's definitely doable because these cards are pretty strong. For turn, we're going to see a top deck of Desires. Yeah, like see, this is what I mean, right? Like now it's 3 dead cards, 4 dead cards really, because the Nibiru is doing nothing. Like these are all just blanks. Like he's playing with no hand right now, basically. And it's just going to, yeah, you can't do anything with this. So like in a world where this order was still set, like you'd be facing down a Har plus 2 other tokens. You'll get Desires and see if that gets stopped. If not, it doesn't really matter, because then you can like maybe even draw like a Book of Moon, and then Book of Moon for something, and then use Tenki Barrage, and that really gets you out of it. So yeah, I really think that this was preemptively flipped, and you can even deal with the Har send monster effect because you have Nibiru just really send. So yeah, I think that definitely this should have been kept set. He's going to pay for order and standby. And he's just going to admit defeat. Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. I think that the rating was on the wall as soon as the order was flipped up. It ended up hurting him a lot more, actually. But if you guys are enjoying this commentary so far, before we hop into game 2, definitely be sure to leave a like in the video and consider subscribing. But we're going to go ahead and see the Zoodiac player go first in game number 2 here. The opening hand for Zoo is Whiptail, Avarice, Gamma, Ram, and Judgment. So this hand is decent. You got some Zoo monsters, but Avarice and Gamma are not going to be super impactful, at least immediately. Avarice turn 1 is like the worst feeling, because you can't really make use of it without just throwing away all of your Zoos for like Gravity Controller, and that's never really that good. So yeah, it's really just going to be Trident, Judgment, and possibly Gamma if the Trident gets cleared. And then for Generator, the hand is going to be Ogre, Boss Stage, Set Rotation, Numeron Calling, and Numeron Wall. So this is pretty decent because you can have access to both of your engines. It's gonna be kind of difficult, but like you can probably push past the Trident Judgment depending on what gets top decked here. So we're gonna see Null Summon Ram, set Judgment, and then go for Shotgun 9, and then go for Tiger, and then go for Trident. And then gonna pass. For turn, Raigeki is going to be the pickup. That is a pretty solid top deck. So you could Raigeki, which will allow your field spells to resolve. But the problem is that will turn on the Gamma. So actually, it's good, but it's like deceptively good or deceptively not good, right? Because it can end up actually hurting quite a bit. So that's gonna be tough. Main phase 1 is going to activate Regeki, and he's going to let that resolve. So he's gonna have Gamma Judgment instead of Dryden Judgment. So it's like the same number of interrupts. At least like right now. Numeron Wall is going to be next. That's gonna be Gamma. Yeah, the Gamma on the Numeron Wall is gonna be quite strong here. Because now you have a choice. The only plays are Boss Stage and Set Rotation. If you activate Set Rotation and you like go for your network, you can flip Judgment and then prevent you from ever activating Boss Stage. So like it will blank the Boss Stages plus like future terraformings or like other copies of network, or even boss fights. Like those will all be turned off with Set Rotation there if the field spell gets Judgmented. So I wonder if that's going to be the play. He's going to use the Set Rotation first. That's going to set a boss stage to Zeus field. And it looks like we can't see. I'm going to check the log here. Set field spell Numeron network from deck. Set Generaider boss stage to the opponent's field. Okay, yeah, so this is a network right here. He's going to activate network, and that's going to be met with Judgment. Yeah, so now this boss stage is just never going to be live. And this Calling is dead, and this Ogre is the only form of defense. So you're just going to be forced to pass here. There's not really anything you can do. That is not allowed to be activated. Hopefully they catch that. They do. Okay, yeah, Set Rotation. He's going to pass. The Cyframes should be banished. You're still clicking on them. Alright. For turn, the pickup is going to be Twin Twister. So that is pretty good at answering like a draw phase boss stage. But right now it's not going to be needed. And it's never really going to be needed as long as this card is set. So that's gonna like that's game winning right there, honestly. This Set Rotation set. Avarice is still not live, but you can just make a bunch of Z plays and make it live. Gonna normal summon Whiptail, and then gonna overlay for Shakanine. Shakanine effect that's gonna be targeting the Dryden, and that's gonna be chained with Ghost Ogre, which is quite strong because this Dryden can't be used as Xyz material this turn. So yeah, that kind of just stops the Zoo push. The only extender is like Reborn or Barrage. So he does have Avarice, which can draw one of those, but otherwise, in most cases, it's going to be the end of the turn after this Avarice resolves. It's going to target all 5, so it's going to be Tiger Mortar, Shakanine, Ram, Whiptail, and another Shakanine. That's going to draw Book of Moon and Desires. Okay, so Desires pickup is very, very strong, so he's actually going to be drawing 3. Going to activate Desires, banish 10, draw a copy of Desires Judgment. Desires is obviously bad to draw. Let's see. He's on combo. Alright. So that's pretty interesting. Lancia is a pretty interesting choice too. I wonder what that could be for. Because yeah, this set doesn't really banish that much. Like it has Utgarda, but like it's gonna be banishing on like your turn, and you can't Lancia in your own turn. So I don't know. This it seems kind of interesting. Maybe he's like fearing evenly or something. I'm not sure. But Judgment is a good pickup here, though. So you can just Judgment whatever the top deck is, and then that'll be good. Like, you know one of the cards in the hand is Boss Stage because you revealed it, and then the other card is presumably a blank or another hand trap. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good if I'm Zoo here. Gonna be setting Book of Moon, Twin Twister, and Solemn Judgment. Gonna be passing turn. It's gonna be an Evenly. So if this Judgment was not picked up here, then, like, Evenly could potentially have like cleared the boss stage, although with the knowledge that boss stage is in hand, like maybe if you're Zoo, you just keep the boss stage set, so your opponent just can't ever use it. But like imagine if this was an unknown card and like your opponent chooses to keep Dryden, they didn't have Judgment, like just so they can have a Zoo play for next turn. Like you just go like boss stage and that puts you back in the game, but that's not gonna happen because it's obviously Judgment here. Battle phase gonna activate Evenly. That's gonna be smacked by Judgment. And that's going to be the end of the game there. Yep, just can't really do anything beyond that. Zoo is going to make a push, and that'll be game 3 here. If you do want to support me and my ability to just make continuous competitive content, definitely consider checking my Patreon as well. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and check out game 3 here. So we're going to see Generaider Numeron go first, and you do see the Red Ice package. We haven't really seen much of this in games 1 and 2, but he's playing Insight and stuff. So opening hand is going to be Insight, Red Ice Fusion, Double Ash, and Network. So this hand's actually very, very lackluster. because you aren't able to use your network and fusion in the same turn, and your rest of your defense is in Ash. And Zoo actually drew the Ash for the Red Ice fusion, so we'll see if like that's what he goes for, because that could just be like the end of the game immediately. But Zoo player opened Reborn, Pankratops, Desires, Judgment, and Ash, so there's no Zoo cards here either. So this could actually just be a bit of a back and forth. We're going to see Network be the activation here. That's going to send Calling for cost, and that's going to summon out 3 gates, and then go for a copy of Zexal. So he went for this instead of the Red Ice stuff. So he did play around Ash there. So he could buy himself another turn to like maybe use this. He's going to set a Red Ice Fusion and then pass. For turn, we're going to see Zoo draw a copy of Imperm. That is decent, although I don't really see, like, if we saw in game 1 he didn't play in an Imperm game 1, so I see very little reason for him to do it in game 3 here. Yeah, he's going to go let main phase go. He's going to activate Desires. It's probably going to be chailing 2 Ash, chailing 3 Zexal, like similar to like the Ogre Zexal play. This does risk playing the Gamma, so maybe you don't activate Zexal, but Ash could also technically chain or check for it. Like if they have the Gamma, then like they have to choose between Ashing, or sorry, Gammaing the Ash and Gammaing the Zexal. So that puts him in a bit of a bind there. Let's see what was banished. Barrage is banished. Gamma's banished. Rat's banished. Order. Nothing like critical, but just some noteworthy one-offs. Ash, or sorry, Barrage and Rat. He's just gonna chain Zexal, so he's not gonna be chaining Ash. Actually, there are times where like Desires could banish the Gamma, or sorry, the driver, so Gamma's not live. That's happened before in a lot of cases. But he's gonna pick up a copy of Whiptail and Driver. I really think I'm wondering why he held the Ash here, because there's not really that many cards to Ash against Zoo. Like there's Tanky, which is a fine Ash in simplified game states. I wouldn't do it like in the opening hand. And then there's Barrage, which is like questionable to Ash. Unless if it's like their only play, but like rarely is it their only play. So I think Desires is just the best card to Ash like at this early point in the game. So I probably would have gone for it. Again, like maybe he's playing around Gamma, but like, you know, this being Gamma would also be very bad. So I don't know, I probably would have just gone for it. He's gonna special out Pankratops and normal Whiptail. So you can just go battle phase and attack for a 12, and then make a Dryden, and then set your back row, and that's like really good. He's gonna overlay for Shock 9, and then go for Dryden. He's gonna set Imperm and Judgment. Oh, does he not realize he could just attack over the Zexal here? Oh, he's asking if Zexal is 2k. Alright, so he's just setting cards and then going battle phase. I'm always thrown off by that because I'm just used to like setting back row like after doing everything. But yeah, he's gonna attack over the Zexal. That's good. He could have gotten in for another 1200, but we'll see if that ends up mattering. He's gonna pass turn after that. For turn, we're gonna see a top deck of Numeron Network. And again, this is a problem with like the Generaider stuff, is that like it doesn't amount a whole ton of offensive pressure in this kind of game state, because like these cards just, they don't work super well together in amounting a push. So he's gonna have to decide between one or the other. Main phase, he's going to activate Red Ice Fusion. It's gonna be met with Ash. So it makes me kind of wonder. I guess maybe he was valuing the Zexal over the Dragoon, which is fair, since like Zexal is like a more blanket lockout. But like, specifically against Ash, right? Like, there's more opportunities for the Zoo player to draw into Ash because you draw for turn, and like he had the Desires as well. Obviously, he had it the whole time, but just like kind of thinking about like specifically the countermeasures to Red Ice Fusion. But maybe he wasn't thinking about that. He was just thinking about like what the better first turn end board would have been, which is also reasonable. But we are going to see. Okay, so I'm not sure what other Numeron spell cards exist, because not gonna lie, I don't know that card pool. But like you could activate this as long as the card you're sending doesn't result in the summoning of a monster, because obviously you're under fusion, and it got Ash, it didn't get like judgmented. So if this has another target to send that isn't calling, then you can definitely use this. But let's see what gets sent for cost, I guess. Okay, so it is the calling. So to my knowledge, like I'm fairly confident, like you can't activate an effect that would result in something that's not illegal, right? Makes sense. So I think that I don't think you're able to activate the network if it's sending calling here because you're under fusion. But he's gonna chain Dryden, so I guess ends up not mattering. Apart from the fact that this Shotgun Nine's engraved now, which could come up. But then they could just like Dryden on his own turn if he wants to Shotgun Nine engrave, so that's also fair enough. He's gonna pass. Yeah, like very minor details. It's not really gonna matter too much in the long term. Gonna top deck a copy of Twin Twister. Very, very good for later on. Gonna go ahead and go battle phase, attack for 38. And then main phase 2, gonna reborn target Zexal. Alright. Oh, we can like Tiger Mortar under this, I think, right? Let me just read Tiger Mortar real fast. Let's see. You can detach one Xyz material and target one Xyz monster you control and one Zoodiac in your graveyard. Yeah, so you can actually attach under the Zexal. That's cute. And like I said, like even though it's Shotgun Nine's engraved because it was responded or it was attached for Dryden to pop the network, he could have done it on his own turn, so didn't really end up making a big difference there. He's gonna Tiger to attach a material for Zexal. That's gonna be quite powerful. You're gonna set Twin Twister and pass. For turn he draws a copy of Droplet. That could actually be good. That's good timing too. So you could like go Zexal and then like chain Droplet, pitching like Ash and Network, because I don't imagine you play 3 calling. He already went through 2. But you like hit the Pankratops and like the Zexal, I guess, and then like, you can try and play with like your Red Ice Fusion, but then it's gonna be Judgmented and you lose the game anyways. So Zoo has this game no matter what, but yeah, again, if not for the Judgment, we're gonna see Zexal being used. And he's gonna chain the Forbidden Droplet, sending Network just to hit the Zexal. Okay, so there's some confusion in the chat there, because the Generator player said was thinking for cost for the Droplet, and then the Zoo player said okay in response to that, and what he meant was okay as in like, okay, take your time, like you can think for the cost of Droplet. And then the Generator player assumed that that meant okay as in Droplet was free to resolve. Zoo says thinking on chaining Pankratops to destroy Zexal, but Pankratops can only pop your opponent's cards, not your own cards. So that wouldn't have been an option. I mean, I guess Judgment would have been a play, so that Zexal resolves, so that just nulls all 3 cards in the hand. But it looks like it's just not going to matter anyway. Generaider is just going to admit defeat, because he knows he can't really play 3 back row with this hand. Yeah, I mean, I think you just at least try for it, right? Like, there's a chance that none of these interacts with, like, there's a very high chance none of these interacts with Red Ice Fusion. Obviously, the Judgment is, like, one of the answers to it, but, like, if your opponent doesn't have it, then you're in a decent spot. I would have definitely at least tried, like, because then you can just clear the whole board. Like, you can attack all the monsters, or you can pop the monsters and, like, attack over the Zexal. Obviously, again, there's just the Judgment, which says no to any of that, but in a world where this is like a Book of Moon, you actually can definitely conceivably win the game. So I think it was definitely an early scoop. Definitely try for it, and then when they get Judgment, that's when you scoop. But anyways, that's gonna do it for the match, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like as well as your thoughts or your feedback in the comments. Subscribe for more competitive Yu-Gi-Oh content. If you want to, you can follow me on all social media platforms or support me on Patreon or TCG Player. Links in the description as always. And until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. See you guys.